A company is a separate legal entity from its members. This principle was established in Salomon versus Salomon and Company, Limited. However, this separation is not absolute. In certain cases, law and courts look behind the company to identify the real persons controlling it. This is called lifting of the corporate veil. Corporate veil may be lifted in two ways. First, by statutory provisions under the Companies Act, and second, by judicial precedents developed by courts. If the number of members of a company falls below the statutory minimum and continues for more than 6 months, the remaining members become personally liable for company debts. A private company must have at least 2 members. If one member exits and the business continues with only one member for over 6 months, that remaining member becomes personally liable for company debts. If a company issues a prospectus containing false or misleading statements, directors, promoters, and experts are personally liable for civil and criminal consequences. A company claims in its prospectus that it owns land worth 50 crore rupees, but in reality, it does not own the land. Investors rely on this false statement and suffer losses. Directors can be personally sued. If minimum subscription is not received and application money is not refunded within the prescribed time, directors become personally liable to repay the amount with interest. A company issues shares but fails to collect minimum subscription. It also fails to refund investors' money within time. Directors must repay the money from the personal assets. The central government may investigate to identify the real persons controlling the company or holding beneficial ownership. A company appears to be owned by multiple shareholders, but in reality, one person controls all decisions through proxies. The government may lift the veil to identify the real controller. If during winding up, it is found that business was carried on with intent to defraud creditors, the tribunal may hold directors personally liable without limitation. Directors take loans knowing the company will shut down soon. They divert funds for personal use. During winding up, the tribunal can make them personally liable. If the company name is not properly mentioned on documents or negotiable instruments, officers signing such documents become personally liable. A director signs a check without mentioning the company's full legal name. If the check bounces, the director may be personally liable. When a company is formed to avoid legal obligations or commit fraud, courts may lift the corporate veil. An employee forms a company to avoid a non-compete agreement. The court treats the company as a sham and holds the individual liable. If a company is merely a mask to hide the real facts, the court will ignore its separate legal identity. A person transfers property to his own company to avoid selling it to someone else. The court lifts the veil and enforces the original agreement. When a company is used as a device to evade tax, courts may lift the veil to identify the real taxpayer. A business splits profits into multiple companies to reduce tax liability. The court may club income and tax the real owner. In times of war, courts may lift the veil to examine who controls the company. A company registered in India is controlled by enemy nationals during war. The court treats it as an enemy company. To protect public interest, courts may lift the veil between holding and subsidiary companies. A subsidiary claims independence, but all decisions are taken by the holding company. The court examines the real relationship to protect public interest. If a company acts merely as an agent or alter ego of its shareholders, the veil may be lifted. The concept of separate legal personality protects business risk, but it cannot be used as a shield for fraud, illegality, or injustice. Therefore, corporate veil may be lifted by statute or by courts to ensure fairness. Lifting of corporate veil is important to prevent misuse of corporate personality. It ensures that individuals do not hide behind the company to commit fraud, evade tax, or harm public interest. This doctrine maintains transparency, accountability, and trust in corporate governance. The main objectives are to identify the real persons in control, to protect investors and creditors, to prevent fraud and tax evasion, and to ensure justice and fairness in business operations. Support the journey, like, share and subscribe to Finance on Wheels.